Welcome friends to the 2026 Lexus LX. We have some new updates to talk about, but as always, if you stay tuned until the end of this video, I will be sharing with you how you can save on new Lexus vehicles. For example, the NX, RX, and TX. The gas models, you can save up to 10% off the MSRP. All right, let's get started here. We now have an F Sport appearance package exclusively offered on the LX 700H F Sport handling model. If you don't know, we have two different models of the LX. We have the LX 600 and the LX 700H. 700H is your kind of performance hybrid model, and I'll talk more about the specs in a moment. But the 700 hybrids, they do make more power. Anyway, the manganese luster exterior paint color is now an option on the Overtrail trim levels. The Overtrail trim is like an off-road model, and that's once again only exclusive to the hybrid LX 700H, and it's available in either 2 or 3 rows. Lexus Safety System 3.0 plus S standard across the board for all of the LX models, and we do have the official pricing here. The pure gas LX 600 is available in 3 trim levels. The entry-level premium, it starts at $107,950. Then we have the F Sport handling, $114,950, and the luxury model, which is what I personally recommend for the LX 600, that's going to be $116,950. These prices have gone up compared to last year by about $500 for all of these gas models. Then we have the LX 700H, that off-road oriented Overtrail model. That's going to be your cheapest entry point into the hybrid. It's going to be $116,685. That's slightly more than $500 compared to last year. Then we have the F Sport hybrid, $118,950. The luxury model, $120,950. And finally, we have an ultra luxury model of the LX 700H. That's going to be $142,450. Again, even the hybrid models, they've also gone up in price compared to last year. However, I don't recommend the ultra luxury. You can kind of think of that as like, you know, like a Maybach version or like this ultra luxury version of the LX. It's kind of there to milk you of extra money. I mean, if you love the brand and you have deep pockets, sure, it's available to you, but not really necessary. I personally like the luxury trim level of the LX 600 the most. So those are all of your trim levels. Those are your prices. Again, the big update for 2026, it's going to be that F Sport appearance package offered exclusively on the LX 700H F Sport handling model. And with that appearance package, you're going to get the color keyed lower front and rear bumper accents. You're going to get black outside mirror covers, black rear spoiler winglets, and you're going to get color keyed running board accents as well. And other than that, you have the manganese luster as a new exterior color option on the Overtrail. Now let's talk engines. So the LX 600, which is what I recommend, it's got the 3.4 liter twin turbo V6 with 409 horsepower, 479 pounds-feet of torque. It's made it to a 10-speed automatic transmission. And the hybrid model, it is essentially building upon the LX 600. So it's still got the 3.4 liter twin turbo V6 with the 10-speed automatic, but it's also got a nickel metal hydride battery pack, and it now has a total system output of 457 horsepower and 583 pounds-feet of torque. Both the 600 and the 700H can tow up to 8,000 pounds. And I've only ever driven the LX 600 in the F Sport handling trim level. I've never tried the hybrid, but there's a few reasons why I'm not a big fan of this new hybrid setup, because on average it's going to add about 300 pounds to the curb weight. That means Lexus might have to, stiffen up the suspension to help it cope with that higher curb weight. Don't know, haven't tried it, but that's just something to watch out for. Something else I don't really appreciate is the smaller fuel tank. So the hybrid gets a 17.97 gallon fuel tank as opposed to the LX 600, which gets a 21.14 gallon fuel tank. And if you think this hybrid is going to get like amazing fuel economy, that's not really the case. Toyota Lexus, they've been unveiling a lot of these quote unquote like performance hybrids. So the hybrid in this LX 700, it's supposed to just give you more power while sort of maintaining decent fuel economy. But on average, when I was testing things like the iForce Max, Toyota Tundras, Sequoias, and even like the Tacomas, none of them really got good fuel economy. Sometimes it's just as bad, if not even slightly worse than its pure gas counterparts. So according to Lexus, the LX 600, it can get 17 in the city, 22 out of the highway. The hybrid 700 19 city, 22 highway. You know, the Toyota Lexus hybrid system drives very smoothly. I am really impressed with it from a driving standpoint, but fuel economy wise, yeah, you're probably going to get just as bad as the LX600 in the real world. So that's not great while getting a smaller fuel tank. And Lexus recommends premium fuel, of course, for both models, but get this, Lexus recommends a octane rating of 95 or more. I hope that's a mistake. I hope that's a typo, because in the US, for most areas, what do you get? Like 93 octane fuel? That's like the best you can hope to get. I mean, when I go to Costco and I observe some of these Lexus owners, they're putting regular fuel into their Lexus, whether it's new or used. And guess what? When you go out to buy a used Lexus, these are the vehicles that you end up with. Cars that have been running regular fuel for its entire life. Anyway, Lexus claims that the 0 to 60 time on the LX600 is 6.9 seconds, whereas the 700H can do it in 6.4 seconds. Honestly, even when I drove the LX600, it felt much quicker than that in the real world. Very effortless, tons of torque and thrust. Power was never an issue with the LX600. The 700, I'm sure, is going to feel even more effortless. But this has to be a mistake on the Lexus spec sheet. They claim that these vehicles can do a top speed of 210 miles per hour. So yeah, there are definitely mistakes that can be made with these official Lexus spec sheets that they share with people like us, the journalists. Not the first time it's happened. I recently did a 2026 NX review, and I claimed that the premium model can be optioned with the ML audio system because that's what it said on one of these spec sheets. But actually, it was wrong. You go on the official Lexus consumer website to build an NX, the option to add the ML audio system did not exist, so Lexus made a mistake on one of these spec sheets. Regardless, I'm only going to show you this spec sheet because it comes straight out of the horse's mouth. This is from Lexus themselves. I don't even care if it does have mistakes on it. This is what I'm always going to show. I only show the official documents from the manufacturer themselves on this channel. Anyway, these vehicles, they do come pretty well equipped. Even if you go with like the entry-level premium model, you will be rewarded with a vehicle that has heated and ventilated front seats, heated second row seats. You do get a leather trimmed interior for sure with the premium model, and you get the dual screen setup, right? You get the 12.3 inch infotainment screen, and then Lexus incorporated like the 7-inch screen towards the bottom for things like your HVAC and a few other things. Not a big fan of that. Wish they would have just given us one display. But regardless, these displays, they do come standard with the wireless Apple CarPlay and the Android Auto. And you get all the Lexus safety tech features, right? You get Lexus Safety System 3.0 Plus, and that includes your useful safety tech features like the blind spot monitoring, the rear cross traffic alert, and even the 360 camera. You get a center locking differential along with adaptive variable suspension as standard across the board. You also get the triple beam LED headlamps as standard. So all of that is good. I personally like the luxury trim level. Comes with 22-inch forged wheels, which all the 22-inch wheel options on the LX, they are all going to be forged. Premium model comes standard with the 20-inch alloys, and the Overtrail hybrid comes with 18-inch alloy wheels with all-terrain tires. But yeah, I like the luxury. You get the semi-aniline leather seats, which is the highest quality leather seats from Lexus as standard with the luxury. And you also get the Mark Levinson 25 speaker audio system also as standard. Now, if you want, you can option the semi-aniline seats and the Mark Levinson audio system on the entry-level premium. You can do that. They are just extra packages, and of course when you select those packages, you get pretty close to the price of the luxury model, although you're still not quite there. So if you want to save some money, you can get the premium. In my little experience though, I have noticed that higher trim level cars just seem to drive a bit better. That's just what I've noticed over the last several years of testing vehicles. So I do have that slight bias there for higher trims, but what else do you get with the luxury model that the premium does not get? Well, you do get things like the illuminated door sills, the digital rear view mirror, which I'm not gonna lie, that is pretty nice to have. You know, if you have your vehicle full of things and it's blocking your visibility, it is cool to flip a switch on your rear view mirror and get that digital readout of the back. So that is nice to have, and you only get that with the luxury models and up. And of course you get the 22-inch forged wheels, and you get a heated steering wheel with both the premium and the luxury, but the luxury has some wood inserts. So whether you like that or not, that's just simply what you get with the luxury model. F Sport is cool if you like the way it looks. It's the only vehicle that comes with a Torsen limited slip rear differential. That's the one that I personally tested. Honestly, I wasn't a huge fan of it, but keep in mind there is definitely some discrepancy between Lexus models. you can drive 5 of these LXs and all 5 can drive very differently. I remember I was speaking to another journalist who reviews vehicles, and they got an LX 600 F Sport to test as well, and they absolutely loved it, and I believe them. I'm sure they had a phenomenal experience. I probably just got dealt the short end of the stick. I remember a few other journalists, they weren't too pleased with the F Sport, but others were, kind of all over the place. Why is that? Just a lot of discrepancy, man, within the Lexus lineup. And that's just something that shocked me over the years. You know, Lexus, a brand known for build quality and reliability. Yeah, this is the brand that has given me the highest discrepancy within the same model and within even the same year amongst various cars. So moral of the story is, you know, consider this vehicle if you like it, but just do a thorough test drive on various roads to see if you personally like it. But overall, do I recommend this vehicle? Yeah, absolutely. You know why? I mean, whether it's my most favorite SUV in the world or not, it's kind of irrelevant. If you like a luxury, prestigious automobile, this is one of the few flagship SUVs that actually retains its value pretty well. I mean, I'm looking at Car Gurus, and with a nationwide search for the model years between 2022 and 2025, because 2022 was the first model year of this generation LX, you know, the cheapest one in the country, it's about $78,841. It's a 2022 premium model with over 68,000 miles on it. And when it first came out, the MSRP, at least the starting price, was much lower. The premium model started at like $95,000. So that's not a big hit after 4 years and 68,000 miles of driving. Again, these things don't exactly crash in value, at least in the long term. You know, in the short term, within like 1 year, yeah, you're gonna lose like 10 grand for sure. The LX will crash down to like 90K rather rapidly, but after that, it really slows down. So if you're someone who kind of holds onto your vehicles and you do genuinely kind of drive a lot and put on the miles, then the LX is one to consider. I mean, there's a lot of models here going for around $85,000. Once again, 2022s and 2023s with about 35,000 miles on it. Again, that's not nothing. So yeah, you can drive this and not really lose out on a whole lot. Don't expect any discounts though off the MSRP. Lexus has kind of learned their lesson. They don't like overly incentivize or overly discount these kind of flagship vehicles. They don't want to devalue their brand, because yeah, you can get other excellent vehicles for less money, like a BMW X7, right? Brand new. I have a resource that I'm about to share with you where you can save 11% off the MSRP on an X7. But even with that, you know, if you're going to lease the X7 with an 11% off discount, sure, the MSRP, it's very nice, 95K, well equipped, 11% off. You're at close to $85,000. That's great, but it's still going to lease out for $1,250 a month. That means over the course of 3 years on a lease for the X7, you're paying like $43,000 in lease payments. So you lost over 40K in depreciation with the X7, even though it costs less. But the LX, over the same course of time, 3 to 4 years, you're losing about half that amount of money, like 20K, 25K, something like that. I mean, maybe if you're a business owner and you can write things off, maybe you don't care, you just want the finest vehicle, sure, the X7, it's epic. But you know, something else that I was looking into, it was actually like the new Range Rovers. You know, I've noticed that the new body style Range Rovers actually maintain their value pretty well, because I see wealthy individuals where I live drive these new Range Rovers all the time. I see them just commonly, right? So I checked them out on Car Gurus, and you know, I was looking at the Range Rover Sport, so that's one below like the full-size Range Rover. I think the Sport is the best value. It still maintains a lot of the characteristics of the flagship while coming in at a much better price point. And yeah, that new body style, the cheapest one, even with close to 100,000 miles, it's around 60K. So this seems to be the case whenever a new body style comes out, it actually retains its value. But when you go to the 2022 model year, now the price drops dramatically to 30 grand. That's now going to be like the cheapest Range Rover Sport, right? Between the years of 2022 and 2025. No accidents, clean history, all that stuff. Do you see like the substantial difference in value holding between the new and the previous generation Range Rover? That is wild. So honestly, if you spec out a new Range Rover, you can kind of rock that for a few years and not lose out on a bundle of money. Because even today, a new Range Rover Sport starts at around $85,000. And if you can still sell it for like 65K in 2 years, that's not bad. That's very close to the LX depreciation curve, at least for the first few years. But you gotta unload it quick or else it will begin to plummet very quickly. So yeah, new Rovers are something that you can hang on to for like the first 2 to 3, maybe even 4 years. Not sure what the discount situation is on new Range Rover Sports though. Maybe they will work with you on like an in-stock unit, but I don't know. Regardless though, since you made it to the end of this video, here's how you can save on new Lexus vehicles. You can reach out to AutoCompanion. He is one of the largest car brokers in the United States, and I am personally partnered with this company. He's primarily located in the Washington, D.C. and in the California areas. He does offer nationwide shipping, but shipping is something you have to pay extra for. So it would be ideal if you can pick up in either California or in Washington, D.C. But on things like the Pure Gas, NX, RX, and the TX, he's got about 10% off the MSRP, and he has some subtle discounts on various Lexus hybrids. So if you're interested in like a $70,000 luxury model TX 350 all-wheel drive, 10% off, you're getting $7K off the MSRP. That is quite excellent and genuinely some of the best Lexus pricing in the United States. And that's before incentives, so if you qualify for something like military or loyalty, that's going to stack on top of AutoCompanion's 10% off, because the 10% off, that's actually the dealer discount. So they are selling these vehicles under invoice because AutoCompanion's partner dealerships, these are some of the largest Lexus dealers, and they work based off of volume. That's why they are able to incentivize these vehicles so much. And of course, AutoCompanion has other makes and models as well, like BMW, Audi, Mercedes. As mentioned before, if you want something like an X7, he's got 11% off the MSRP on those. Mercedes GLE and GLS models, 12% off the MSRP. Now, to access these deals, AutoCompanion does charge a broker fee. He did say that if you go on his website and you fill out an inquiry form, he did say that he'll take some money off of that fee, and I really appreciate him doing that for my audience, because not only is AutoCompanion saving us money off the MSRP, he's also saving us time, headaches. You don't have to deal with any of the dealership manipulation games. You don't have to worry about additional junk fees, right? Like tint fees, nitrogen fees. You don't have to deal with any of those shenanigans. You just get the vehicle that you want. He has good selection. You can even build the vehicle depending on what it is and still get these discounts. So that's awesome. And you can lease, pay cash, finance, do whatever you like and still get these discounts. So all of AutoCompanion's information will be in the description box below. If you found value with this content, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you again for watching. Take care and goodbye.